President Trump is saying the recent attacks on based on that Russia's siege against Ukraine shows that President Putin isn't serious about them. So what is your reaction to that?
No, it's very serious. I think, I can say that I believe Ukraine has made some very strong attacks also. And I don't say that negatively. I think you probably have to. I don't say that negatively.
"22 minutes, one room, and a quiet but unmistakable power shift. At Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump did not insult or confront Volodymyr Zelensky. Instead, he took control of the peace narrative, positioning himself as the central dealmaker while Ukraine slowly slipped to the background.
Nobody would even have a chance of getting it to where it is right now. Nobody would have thought that was possible. So I just want to say we've done very well.
From the opening moments, Trump framed the Ukraine war not as Kyiv's existential battle, but as a problem only he could solve. As Zelensky stood beside him, Trump recalled his past diplomatic wins, reinforcing a hierarchy where Ukraine was no longer the lead actor, but part of Trump's broader record.
Settled 8 wars. Some were going on for 35 years. And we got them settled in a couple of days. Some of them, one was going on for 37 years. I settled it in one day. But this is a very complex one.
When Zelensky tried to assert progress, citing near total agreement on a peace framework and security guarantees, Trump cut across the momentum. The numbers, Trump suggested, were secondary. What mattered was his judgment, not Kyiv's accounting.
We discussed all the aspects of the peace framework, which includes, and we have great achievements, 20-point peace plan, 90% agreed, and US-Ukraine security guarantees, 100% agreed.
I don't like to say percentages. I just think we're doing very well. We could be very close. There are 1 or 2 very thorny issues, very tough issues.
The moment that landed hardest came when Trump spoke about Ukrainian territory. Without hesitation, he described land losses as an existing reality, even a moving target, long before any agreement was finalized. Zelensky did not interrupt. The implication hung in the air.
Some of that land is maybe up for grabs, but it may be taken over the next period of a number of months.
Pressed on why Russia was unwilling to stop fighting, Trump did not defend Ukraine's demand for a ceasefire. Instead, he explained Moscow's reasoning and openly aligned himself with it, offering understanding where Kyiv sought pressure.
He feels that, look, they're fighting and to stop, and then if they have to start again, which is a possibility, he doesn't want to be in that position. I understand that position.
Ukraine's sovereignty was acknowledged, but only as a procedural step. Trump suggested that Kyiv would later approve the outcome through parliament or a referendum, framing Ukrainian democracy as a mechanism to ratify decisions already shaped elsewhere.
Probably have to get their plan approved by parliament or by referendum of the people.
As the presser continued, Trump began reshaping the image of Vladimir Putin. No longer just an adversary, Putin was portrayed as cooperative and constructive, even helpful in stabilizing critical infrastructure inside Ukraine.
President Putin's actually working with Ukraine on getting it open. He's been very good in that sense. He wants to see that open, and he hasn't hit it with missiles, hasn't hit it with anything.
Trump reinforced that narrative, praising restraint as progress. In doing so, the standard shifted. Avoiding catastrophe was presented as a concession, even as the wider war continued unabated.
It's the biggest plant of its kind in the world, and they're working together to get it opened. They could maybe get it open quickly. That's a big step.
Then came the most striking reframing of all. Trump spoke of Russia not just as a negotiating party, but as a future partner in Ukraine's recovery, describing Putin's attitude toward Ukraine's success in unusually generous terms.
President Putin was very generous in his feeling toward Ukraine succeeding, including supplying energy, electricity, and other things at very low prices.
As the meeting moved toward its close, Trump quietly shifted the security burden away from Washington. Europe, he said, would take over much of the responsibility, subtly downgrading Ukraine's direct leverage with the United States.
And Europe is going to take over a big part of it, as you can imagine. You know, they're right there.
And finally, Trump made clear where the real power channel lay. Not in Kyiv, but in Moscow. The decisive conversations, he reminded the room, were the ones he was having directly with Vladimir Putin.
Look, I was on the phone with him for almost, I guess, 2.5 hours, they're just telling me now. It's a long time. We discussed a lot of things. We didn't talk about the weather.
There were no insults, no raised voices, no public clash. Just 15 calculated moments in 22 minutes where Ukraine was edged aside. Zelensky was not shouted down. He was spoken over. This was not chaos. It was controlled.